Hey y'all, it's Susie. Welcome to my craft room. Today I am trying to film two different ways. One with my camera that will not take an external mic, and one with my phone the way that I've been previously filming. Anyway, I'm excited. Today is June 1st of 2020, and as promised, we are going to honor Gi Kerr for the month. And look at this gorgeous pack, y'all. Is this beautiful or what? So this is what we're going to be making today. Hopefully I will be able to either complete this before my cameras give out or do it in two parts. And it may be day one, part one, and part two, or maybe just day one. Alright, so let's take a look at this little yummy pack. So, I guess we'll take, well, we're going to leave these on. These are just attached with ball pins, and they're just little dangly pieces that you can put in your little journals, which I'm going to show you in a minute. You can use them for embellishments however you want to. So they're just kind of attached here for your use. This one says Dream, that one says Imagine, that one says Butterfly, this one is Inspire, and this one is Rose. These are some tags that were made from the kit that we chose, and you don't have to have the kit. If you don't have it, that's okay. You know, I'm going to show you an alternative way to do things. But these were some of the tags. They have not been embellished yet. I just wanted to kind of get them in here and show you kind of what we're going to be working on. So these will tuck into that front pocket. We have two pockets here. Now in the back pocket, oh, well, before we get to the back pocket, let me show you this. These are paper clips that you can use. And I have embellished these, but these are paper clips that, you know, have some journaling space. I am going to cover this paper clip up. But again, I wanted to get these finished so that I can show them to you. And this is actually going to be for a giveaway that I'm doing for my 100 subscribers. I'm so excited that we've reached that. Thank you so much. Okay, and this is a little journal that tucks inside of this back pocket. I have not sewn it together yet. I wanted to show y'all, because I'm not sure what I'm going to do with the inside of the cover, whether I'm going to cover it or not. And I either want to put a piece of fabric or a piece of paper or card just to reinforce the spine, either on the outside or on the inside. But all these are just blank coffee dyed papers that I've put in there. Now, this is the size that when Gi Kerr made this, that she made for this. The journal can go in one of two ways. Let me take these back out. You can either tuck it in like this and it barely peeks out, or you can tuck it in there and it completely hides. So I think that's cute either way. So now what I also did was I just used a regular piece of, actually I printed out my images, and I can't get it to print borderless. So I had to cut my papers down, which worked out great for this particular pocket pack, because once I cut them down and then I cut my coffee dyed papers down the same way, then they fit in a cover that would go in this. So just to kind of flip through to show you, I just alternated a decorated page with a coffee dyed page. Now I will be going back through, and because these were not printed on coffee dyed paper or on cardstock, I'm going to go back through and I'm going to distress or paint, I'm not sure which, all of these pages. And so that's another reason I did not sew these in. Now you can just use coffee dyed paper, make it plain, and then embellish it like we're going to do with the small one, or like I'm going to do with the small one. You know, since we all have different supplies, we'll be embellishing them different ways. So anyway, this is a little bit long to fit in here without sticking over the top. Let me give you an example. I'm going to take this little one back out for a minute. See, it sticks over just a little bit. Well, when I remeasured with my papers, I can go ahead and cut this down and take just enough off so it'll fit in my pocket without going over the edge. And I can still get my little paper clip embellishments on there behind there if I want to, but I feel sure I will use, or somebody will use them in their journals to mark pages. So, also what you can do is if you want both size journals, you can put this one in this pocket and also stick this one down in there. Excuse me. Or you can stick this one in this pocket, either that way or that way. Now, what this does though is it gives it a real snug fit, and getting the tags in there becomes a little bit more of a challenge. I mean, it's not impossible. Just, you know, once the embellishments are on there, I don't know that you would be able to get this many. I think I have 6 tags in here. You can put some in the front pocket, some in the back pocket. You know, of course, you'll probably, you know, be using them to decorate your journals with, you know, once you start using this pack. But these are just, this is just wonderful. I think it turned out absolutely beautiful. I'm so thrilled with it. If you don't have bulb pens, you can use safety pins, which I'm also going to do. So anyway, this is where we're going with this. Now, I printed out my pages, and I printed them out just on plain paper, just, you know, regular copy paper. And if you use them the way I did, you're going to have to figure out what to do with the backs, or you can leave them white, you know, either way. You can print them on copy dyed paper, and which I actually did not. I glued my images to a piece of copy dyed paper, which makes them more like a cardstock. When you do this, when you glue pages together like this, you're not going to be able to get as many in to fit in the pocket pack as I did with those. Both of these journals turn out to be 48 pages. If you do this, you're probably going to end up with more like 24 pages in each one, because it's double the thickness. And like I showed you, that's already kind of a firm fit. So anyway, I did print these out and then glued them to the copy dyed paper. And then I also printed them on cardstock. Now I want to show you the difference. And I did print this kit wrong many, many times. When I tell you I'm computer stupid, I just can't even tell you how true that is. I don't know how to do the borderless backgrounds. I don't know whether to do landscape or portrait modes, and then you have to go to a different place to set that up, and you know, it's just, and I would forget something every single time. So I probably printed this kit 10 times, seriously. So anyway, I wanted to show you the color difference in printing on the cream. This is cream colored. Now, probably if you used ivory, let me show you. See, that's the cream color. If you used ivory, it would even change it to a different color. So this next one I'm going to show you is on regular copy paper that has been glued down to the copy dyed paper. That's the differences in the colors. As you can see, it's quite a bit of difference. Now, I do attribute some of this difference, some of the bluish images, to where my ink cartridge was running low. I literally went through 2 ink cartridges printing this out incorrectly. So, just hopefully you know how to do it better than I do. I'm just not really that smart when it comes to that. But those are the pages that came in the kit. Now, if you could not get the kit, I will tell you that if you are on Gi Kerr's Facebook group, which is Happiness in Crafting, and I encourage everybody to go on there, join it, participate in it. Every Friday, she offers Friday freebies. This happens to be a background page. That's just a misprint. You can tell my cartridge was running low. Let me turn, well, I guess some of them are right and some of them are wrong. But these, obviously, my cartridge was low, and so it's printing out really pink. This was actually part of what we just did. Oh, here we go. Here's some of her freebies. These are her freebies. I'm sorry. This is after I replaced my ink cartridge. Isn't that background beautiful? That's another one that she did. That's another one, another background. Absolutely gorgeous, gorgeous images. That's a collage background page. This was a cute little page. And as you can see, most of her stuff works together. It's just amazing. This is more of a grayscale in the flowers with some hint of color. This also works well with that. These colors, not so much, but it's just beautiful. As you can see, I did not print this correctly, and I ended up cutting off some stuff. This is another page that will work well. Beautiful. And I think this one is her latest one, and I just love this, all the words that you could use. There's also other folks out there that have free printables, and if you can't find free printables, not a problem. So I'm going to go ahead and jump right in, and we're going to start out making the pack itself, not the embellishments and not the journal or the tags. So here's what I did. If you are using a file folder, you're going to need 2 of them. And these were the dimensions I used. You can make it bigger if you want to. You can make it smaller, you know, whatever. I'm going to give you the measurements that I used, okay? Now, this is a piece of file folder, and I measured up from here towards the top 8.5 inches, and I trimmed off the excess. By doing that, it took the tab off and those little kind of, you know, curved little ends, and then from here, I measured from here to here and cut 5.5 inches. This gives me this particular pocket. Now, you're going to have another pocket that goes here. And for that one, and by the way, this is 8 inches across. So this is 8.5 by 8, and this is 5.5 by 8. And then the little piece that's going to go right here is going to be 4 inches by 8 inches. Okay, so that's if you're using file folder. If you're not using file folder and you want to use, you know, your coffee dyed paper or even, you know, just your regular papers, I glue 2 of mine together to make them thicker. You may even want to go with 3 to make it, you know, a really good thickness. This piece, I cut the 8.5 by 8. This piece, I cut 6 this way, and of course 8 this way, because the 8 is going to match on either side. And then I took a 1/2 inch from the bottom and folded it up. Alright, and burnished that down really well. And then I'm going to take this and tuck it right into here. Glue along that edge. Push that down, you know, make sure, you know, it stays down. Put something heavy on it or, you know, what have you to hold that down. And then, of course, you're going to cut this the same way that I told you that we cut the other piece for that. What did I just do with it? Anyway, it is going to be the 4 inch by 8 inch. So that is the piece that will go on to here. Now, if you don't have a kit, and you don't have any decorative papers or anything that you can cover these with, if you have stamps, and G showed how to do this, and I just pulled out, you know, just, I don't have a clue where this is from, but anyway, I just grabbed some of these out, and it could be any kind of stamps. I mean, whatever images you want, and you're going to, you know, want a permanent ink, and I chose StazOn. And I can just, you know what, let's do the bigger one first. Well, that other one's even bigger than that. Okay. Alright, I'm going to, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and stick a few of them on here at the same time. Let's do that. And how about live your life? And let's do this little bird this way. Okay? And so then I'm just going to kind of ink this up. And you can do this on your file folder, or you can do it on your coffee dyed papers. I would recommend that you do it before you glue anything down, so that you can kind of, you know, get it where you want it. And it doesn't matter if they don't fill in all the way. It just gives it more of an aged look, if, you know, you don't mind. And really the best thing to do when you put a stamp down is to, once you put it down, it's not the pressure that puts the ink on the page. It's actually letting it sit there and giving the paper time to absorb the ink. So once I pull it up, then I have a much different looking image. Okay, and so, I don't know why I just took that off. And also, don't forget to decorate the back of your page. So I'm just going to go ahead and maybe Stamp that like that. Yep, I like that. And then maybe a few times on the back. And if you don't have stamps, you can use magazine images. You can use, you know, book pages in random directions. I mean, there is so much that you can do to decorate however you want to. And so I can just take these off. And of course, I'm going to have the other little piece too that I'll need to stamp if I'm going to use it this way. But I just wanted to show you real quickly kind of what I'm talking about. I don't think I've used this little guy. So let's throw him on there a couple of times. Let's put him right here. Like I said, you just kind of want to do this a little bit randomly. You know, just nothing needs to be in any kind of order unless you just have to have order in your life. And some of us are OCD like that. And of course, you don't need to do the back of this because this is going to be glued down and you won't see this anyway. Okay. Put this little guy back up and let's use the word inspire. And we can just put it in random places. And you know what? Even the whole word doesn't have to be on there. I mean, just like, you know, it's running in off the page. I mean, that looks quite nice, actually. So let's just kind of randomly put this. So this is an absolutely wonderful way to decorate if you don't have, you know, any images or such. All right, here's one that's create. Let's kind of use that, and then I think we're going to kind of call it quits after this one. I think you get the idea of what I'm talking about. And I think that looks really pretty. I'm really pleased with that. So that's kind of how you can make your own papers. And then if you're doing this, you can use the same stamp set or you can use a different one to decorate tags up with. You can put your book pages on tags and then maybe stamp an image on top of the book pages. There's just so many different ways of doing this. So let me move these out the way. Oh. So that's, like I said, we're gonna, if you're gonna sew yours, let me add this. If you're gonna sew your pieces before you glue anything at all, you're going to have your two pieces. I do not know what I do with my other piece. But anyway, you're going to want to sew along the top edge of this piece or your file folder. Right here, just to put a stitch along there. And then the piece that you're adding here and here, you want to sew along the top edge of each of those as well. Because once we start gluing down, you're not going to be able to get your sewing machine here to do those top edges. You will be sewing up the sides if you're going to sew. So you don't have to, you know, worry about doing the sides right now. Just the tops of each of the pockets, because you'll be able to do the top edges of these later when you do the sides and, you know, across the bottom if you're going to sew. So now, we're to this point. If you're using this, again, tuck that in there. You know, you might want to pick out which side has your best images, you know, to show like this. So I'm going to pick, I think, this side, because the other way, well, I don't know, my birds are the same either way. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do this, and I'm going to glue that down. All right, once that's glued down, then we basically have this. All right, so then I'm going to take and open this flap up. We're going to pretend like that's sewed down, like this is attached. And then I'm going to take and glue very, you know, we want it to be a good amount, but not where it's going to seep and take up your space. And we're going to glue around here. And we're going to make sure that we mash that down real good. and, you know, put it under something heavy, you know, if it needs to sit for a little bit or what have you. All right, then you're going to take your next piece and you're going to, you know, line up your bottoms. You know, we're going to pretend like this actually fits right. You're going to line up your bottoms and it'll come to like about there. And again, well, on this one, you're going to glue along your bottom edge and up the side edges, and you're going to glue that on there. Again, make sure that dries real well. So on this, you're going to have, you know, this pocket. I mean, this is already glued down. And then we're going to have our next little piece, which is going to go on here. So again, this is already, you know, glued to the back, and these sides are already glued down. So now all we have to do is run a line of glue down our piece here and up the edges. And again, you know, put it under something to hold it in place. Once you have all that done and everything's dry, if you're going to sew, now you can sew, you know, up the sides, you know, up across the top, you know, and down, and then, you know, just real close to the edge of the bottom, because, again, you don't want to take up too much of your page if you're going to sew. If you're not, then you're good to go with that. Now, for the journal covers, let me kind of tell you what I did. Ooh. Oh. I had to make me some notes so I could remember what order I was going. Oh, and I tell you what, I keep I think I mentioned before in one of my videos, I keep a notebook of my stuff, you know, people that inspire me, channels, directions, things like that. And I mean, I use it all the time. I mean, I've just got tons and tons of stuff in there. I lost it. I nearly had a running fit. I looked for that thing for 2 days trying to find it, and I could not find it anywhere. Well, lo and behold, I ran across it, and I was so excited I could have run naked through the thickets. It's a really, really good thing that I cannot use my legs, or that would have been kind of embarrassing. Anyway, for these, now there are the 2 ways that you can do this. You can use as many or as few pages as you want to. As I told you, these are a total of 48 pages. 12 pages folded in half. And so then, if we open these back up, that is literally 12 pages. Alright, once you count front and back, that one page makes 2. So, once we have these, that's 24. Well, then once you fold it in half, now you also have 48 pages. I did that in both of these. Again, I used single pieces of paper, so nothing is double thickness, so I was able to get 48 in there. You're going to have to kind of play with it to see what'll fit in your pocket before you sew it in. Now, you need to determine what you're going to do with your covers, the inside and out, before you put your pages in. Also, when you decorate the outside, if you want to sew around it, you want to do that before you cover the inside. Something has gotten in my nose. Because you don't necessarily want your stitch marks to show. So if you're going to sew, go ahead and, you know, do what you want to do, and then sew around here. And then if you're going to cover this, then go ahead and measure your piece out to cover and glue it down. And then your cover will be ready. If you're going to cover the inside, you don't necessarily need to reinforce your seam on the inside or outside. I just like to reinforce it because, you know, when you use it and back and forth, it kind of makes that weak. So I just like to reinforce mine. So decide again on your covers how you want to do them, how you want to decorate them. I just took kind of a little scripty stamp and stamped it around, and then I took 2 of the tags from the kit. I placed one of them on here, and I took another one, and I just cut it off a little bit. I didn't want the whole thing on there. Placement is really important to catch the person's eye, and I'm doing a video now for my beginner's class on how to place things that are the most appealing to people, what draws their eye the most, and you know, the best ways not to do it. So once you get your covers figured out, and then you can decide your insides, whether you're going to cover them or not, and then go ahead and sew your pages in. Then for the most part, your pieces are done except embellishing them. So we're just going to set those aside. And then we're going to look at tags. Obviously, these were all tags from the kit, and these were everything that I made for this pack is from paper that I printed incorrectly. So that's what I used, and when I printed the correct ones, these are really the sizes that they turned out to be, that they're supposed to be. So I have all my correctly printed embellishments here. I have a much bigger bunch that I printed incorrectly. Now you have to remember, I've already used a lot out of here, but all that was printed incorrectly. So don't think I'll throw it away, because I will certainly use them. So I pulled out some tags. I wanted them to be different. I didn't want, you know, 2 of this and 2 of that. You know, I wanted them to be different, and I wanted them to be different sizes. I think I ended up with 3 different sizes here because of my misprinting so many times. But that way, I put like my bigger tags behind, and then I'll put my smaller tags in front of those. You can use all the same color ties. You don't have to use any ties. You can actually take a piece of... let's see, I should have a little piece of fabric here somewhere. That's a little big. Oh, gosh. Bear with me a second, y'all. Sorry about that. I thought I had me a little piece of fabric. I probably, look at here. Right here in my scrap bin. Alright, so you could actually, you know, not even have the holes, or you could have the holes or not. And you could glue just a little piece of fabric for well, where'd my fabric go? For little pulls on that, which I think is adorable. And then you could, you know, put a little embellishment on there, which is super, super cute. So however you want to decorate your tags is fine. Again, I have not decorated these because I wanted to show you how to make this kit. As we go through, you can pause this video, catch up to where I am, and then, you know, keep going. And that way, we're kind of all working together. But I want to get these tags made. Now, if you don't have a kit, once again, you can make your background papers using your stamps, using your magazine images. You know, you can doodle, you know, just draw images. You can trace around circles. You can trace around squares, you know, triangles. You can make little swirly marks. The sky's the limit. You can... use old book pages and kind of collage them in various directions. Looks really, really fantastic. Whatever it is that you want to do to make your background pages. Now, I will say, if you make your own background pages and you do collage, you probably don't want to make these 2 layers stick yet, because once you collage, it's going to make your paper thicker. And if that is thick enough, once you collage your pieces on there, because you do want to be able to, you know, like fold this. And if it's too stiff, it doesn't necessarily fold so well. You want it thick, but you don't want it like 3 or 4 layers thick. So once you collage your pieces on there, if it's thick enough, leave it alone. If not, then you can always glue it to another piece to make it the extra thickness. If you collage on here, you may not want to use cardstock. This is actually file folder, and that's why I told you, you know, if you're using file folder, you'd need 2 for your covers. But if you're not, then and you're using regular paper and you're going to collage, again, check your thickness. If your thickness isn't right, you can always put a plain piece of paper, copy dead paper, whatever, glue that to it to make it thicker. And that could actually be your inside cover, or if you wanted it even a little bit thicker, you could, you know, cover it again. Okay, I'm going to have to pause for a moment, and I'll be back with you in just a few minutes.